evening from Ross Township. I'm Geoff Kim. Trace Fowler to join me in just a moment. In a game you saw right here on Chatterbox Live 3 nights ago, it was Edgewood winning their third in a row, defeating Harrison on the road 43-37. Aaron Frazier led the Cougars with 16 points. Meanwhile, Ross dropped its second straight, falling to unbeaten Mount Healthy 62-53 despite 14 from Jimmy Booker. So as we bring in Trace, you saw these Edgewood Cougars come from behind in the fourth quarter 3 nights ago. It wasn't pretty, but anytime you hold an opponent to just 5 points in the game's final 8 minutes, you'll take it every time.
Yeah, I think that I was impressed with Edgewood, really. They didn't play well, but anytime a team finds a way to win is what I would say is a situation where it's a test of a good team. And I think that they have a few guys that can score the basketball, but they're going to come into an environment tonight that is not going to be too pleasant for them. And the Ross Rams have every chance and ability to win this basketball game.
Meanwhile, the Rams have dropped their last 2, including the 1 to unbeaten conference leader Mount Healthy on Tuesday. However, a win tonight may end Edgewood's hopes of winning a conference title this season. Trace, they can play spoiler tonight.
Yeah, they could. Like I said, I think Edgewood is a team that has a chance to win. They control their own destiny. But Ross is a capable opponent tonight, and I wouldn't consider it a major upset if they were able to win, especially in the environment in which exists tonight.
The last time these two teams met, it was on December 6, 2019, the second game of the season in Edgewood, as the Cougars blew out the Rams 67-46. Edgewood shot 51% from the floor in that game, including 10 from 20 from behind the three-point line. John Shepard led the way with 21 points and 9 rebounds. Ross shot just 26%, 12 of 46 in that ball game. So we are mere moments away from the start of this one. We are due for a timeout. When we return, we'll give you the starting lineups and the opening tip-off. It's the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. Just mere moments away from the start of this one, our game of the week here on Chatterbox Live, along with Trace Fowler. I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us here tonight on what has been a rainy Friday all day long here in this part of Ohio, as we get ready now for our starting lineups. As we'll take a look here, the head coaches tonight. Well, we'll give you the head coaches in just a moment. Edgewood comes on up. They're the visiting team tonight. John Thomas is their head coach. And you see their lineups here. Eric Brooks in at a guard spot, along with Anthony Scott, Aaron Frazier, John Shepard, and Caleb Allen. If you were with us 3 nights ago, it's the same 5 as we had broadcast to you on Tuesday night. Their head coach again is John Thomas in his 12th year, his second stint with the school. He had a 7-year stint back in the last decade. He's now in his 5th year with the program once again after coming aboard as the athletic director and now the head coach as well. The starting lineups for the Ross Rams, as David Lane is in his 3rd year with the program. He's at the helm, 39-20. You see them run out on the floor there in the maroon and gold tonight. The starting 5 tonight. Cole Gronis is at a guard spot wearing the number 3. Sam Nunn will run with him, 6 foot tall, a junior wearing number 21. Number 23, Jimmy Booker, 6'1", a junior. Up front, number 25, Johnny O'Connell, 6'1", a junior. And number 34, Max Stepaniak, 6'7", a junior. So we're just about set to go. The home team's in the home whites tonight. Ross is. The Rams are in the maroon numerals with the gold trim. It's the dark blue, the navy blue, if you will, for the Edgewood Cougars. So they're in the road blues with the white numerals and striping as well. Just about set to go. Aaron Frazier will jump center with Max Stepaniak. We're here at Ross High School in Ross Township, just outside of Hamilton. Ball's in the air. Tap is controlled by Edgewood, and away we go, right to left. Edgewood with the first touch, and getting a touch now is Anthony Scott. He'll toss to Caleb Allen out on the perimeter. Little side to side here, starting off. Shepard getting a touch, and then now they play it back. Frazier up high. Just 20 seconds gone on by here in this one, and we're just getting started here on a balmy Friday night here in Ross Township. They play it up top, a little motion. We saw a lot of that in the JV game. We'll tell you about that here in a little bit. Caleb Allen has the ball outside the free throw line, gives it up. Frazier lost it, got it back. They play it around the arc, and this possession is 45 seconds deep, and we've got a little hand check coming on up. It's on 25, Johnny O'Connell. That's his first. All be entered in. Brooks has it on the entry. Plays it now as Scott. And back over for Allen. Allen off the curl. Nowhere to go. A minute deep in this possession, and somebody has got to fire a shot at some point. Frazier deep on the corner.
Ross is switching all screens, which is kind of causing some issues here for Edgewood.
Here's a long water three from 22 feet away. No good. The rebound, an offensive one for Shepard. Shepard in the lane. He pumps 12 feet away. 2-0 Edgewood.
That's a great defense. Great effort to get the offensive rebound, and then really as much work as Ross did there to get a shot and a missed shot at that. It's tough to give up 2 points, and here comes Edgewood.
On a 3-on-2, a little stop and go. The hold-up shot Shepard does, plays it back to Scott on the sideline. Brooks plays. Here's a three for Allen. He knocks it down. 5-0 Edgewood. Allen averaging 14 and a half a ball game. 2 minutes gone by here in this one. 5-0 is your score. Half-court trap broken. Sam Nunn gets a touch up top, and he plays it to Cole Gronis. Gronis against the 2-3 zone. Back over for Nunn. Skip pass, back over for Gronis. They keep it out on the perimeter. Jimmy Booker gets a touch, and he throws it away. Here's a 2-on-2 break. To the rack. Caleb Allen with 2 more and a timeout. 7-0 in favor of Edgewood. And this is a time and true ideal that we have in the games that you and I have, Trace. One team always gets out to a hot start.
Absolutely, it seems that way. Every time we do cover a game, at least the last 2 weeks, it's been nothing but a barn burner for one side, and the other side's reeling to try to get back into it. But again, if you're Ross, anytime you play a zone, and I don't mean to kind of sound like a broken record, if you will, but you got to get the ball into the middle of that zone. That's the biggest weakness of a zone in general, especially a 2-3 specifically. And really, Ross is just trying to pass it around the perimeter. You got to penetrate, or you got to find a way to get in the middle and break down that zone. But again, you got to calm down, realize it's 7-0, and there's a significant amount of game left. But so far, I've been flustered with the 2-3 zone of the Cougars.
Ross will enter in from their own back line. C.J. Bowes into the ball game, comes up. He'll draw the half-court trap, and now plays it to Evan Rainey. Beg your pardon, Sam Nunn. Here's a drive into the lane. Shot is no good for C.J. Bowes. And an empty possession here for the home team. Down by 7. Brooks initially with the penetration, and now they'll keep it outside. Shepard puts it on the floor. Scott throws it away. Rainey plays Scott. Beg your pardon, Gronis. Gronis has it up high on the right and plays to Sam Nunn. And they keep it out on the perimeter. Bowes gets a touch. He gets it. He gives it back. He fires 3. He airmails it.
Turned it over. Here we go. There's one way to breed a zone.
Bowes, now here's a 3 off the left side. Short for Gronis.
Gets it back. Good. Oh, you got to finish.
And they do. They break the drought. O'Connell gets 2.
Yeah, there's an old saying, one way to beat a zone is just not let him get set up in it, right? Force a turnover and push the envelope, and a quick 2 there for Ross. It's a matter of getting stops on this end, though, to get back in a game.
Averaging 2 a ball game. He gets his first 2, and he gets his team on the board, 7-2 in favor of the visiting Edgewood Cougars. Here's a drive, here's a foul in the lane. Scott was making his move to the hoop. C.J. Bowes picks up his first personal. That's the second team foul on the home team. Three off the left side, no good for Caleb Allen. So Ross gets the benefit of an empty possession with 3:42 left to play here in quarter number 1, 7-2.
It's a good job by Gronis right there of not just flailing out, but going in and finding himself and getting a rebound as a guard.
O'Connell draws the double, draws the triple. He'll have to kick it out.
Oh, they're going to call 3 seconds. It looked as if he kind of had at least a foot outside the lane. I'm not sure, perhaps, if he called the 3 seconds a little delayed.
Well, he was stuck down there. He got the ball, and then they converged on him.
Absolutely, yeah. He kind of got a situation where he bobbled it just for a minute and then realized by the time he picked it up, there was too many guys on him to make a clean exit pass.
Allen kicks it out. Here's a 3-ball left side. No good for John Shepard, who's the team's leading scorer. And they throw it away.
3 on 2.
Frazier, outlets, to the rack, and one! Caleb Allen will go to the line for the old-fashioned 3-point try.
Man, I'll tell you what, it doesn't mean that Ross isn't going to be able to get back into this thing by any means. The way our games typically go, they either crawl back in or they never have a chance of coming back at all. It's getting to that point, though, you know, a little bit of a danger zone. A 5-point swing either way almost makes it a little bit of a, I don't want to say too big of a hole to get out of, but you got to get this crowd involved, you know, and one way to do that is putting the ball in the basket. They just haven't found a way of doing that with this zone.
Allen has 10-2 in favoring of Edgewood. A near steal, and we've got to reach in. By the way, that was the second foul prior on the bucket to C.J. Bowes. So foul trouble for him early on. Under 3 to go. And as you recall, the game that we did last week at Lakota East, it was West that got into trouble very early. Right around this time, they had a double-digit deficit. They crawled back into the midway point of the second quarter, and then they lost momentum from there.
That they did. And again, if you're Ross, whether it's Stepaniak or whether it's one of the guards, have to flash in the middle right there. You've got to get the ball to the middle. Whether you drive it or you kick it. But again, you can't just make perimeter passes and expect to beat a zone.
Nunn has the ball up high on the left. He puts it on the floor once, and he plays to Blake Lakes, who's into this ball game.
There it is, right there.
O'Connell stuck at the free throw line. He draws the double.
There it is. That's
Here's
how you
Lakes
do it.
for 3. He knocks it down.
Yep. As soon as you get the ball in the middle, the zone is completely negated at that point, and it's a matter of making a couple quick passes and finding the open man. And it's a good job by the Rams of burying a 3 and getting back into it.
Lakes averaging 3 a ball game. He has his first 3. 10-5. Allen. And now Hazy Gambrell's in the ball game. He came in on the last dead ball. Thinking about 3 is Frazier. Now driving. Nice move to the hoop and a score. Aaron Frazier gets his first bucket of the night, averaging 10 a ball game. And here's a half-court trap and a steal. Gambrell plays to the near side. It goes to Allen, stuck outside the lane. The kick out, the deep water 3. He knocks it down. John Shepard from the trifecta. 15-5. It's a double-digit lead with just over 1 to play here in this first quarter. Here's another steal. Here's Frazier in the lane. He puts it up, no good, but we've got a foul. And all the action has been down on our left side of the floor.
A little bit.
Beg your pardon, go ahead.
I was going to say, we, just for the viewership here, we went through 5 JV overtimes here, and for whatever reason, Our equipment lasted through a freshman JV and all 5 of their overtimes, but we are having a little technical difficulties on the video, and we'll have it back up here shortly.
So we'll call it like we normally do. 15-5, just under a minute to play. Along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us here for the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. Here's a straight on 3. It's left short, and we've got a foul. Jimmy Booker was in place to try to get it, and he was fouled from behind from Zach Hojak, who came in on the last time out.
It was a good job of boxing out, and his man tried to kind of make a swim move to get around him, and kind of called a hook on the foul there. And Ross has the ball back with a chance to kind of cut into the deficit here in the first period.
15-5, a double-digit lead, and where have we seen this before from a first quarter perspective? We saw this last week. Skip pass to the near side for Lakes, and is out of bounds to the sideline. With 32.3 to play here in quarter number 1. Unsure if we have our video back up, but we'll tell you, if nothing else, Ross is in the home whites tonight. They have the maroon numerals and the gold trim. It's the road blues. For visiting Edgewood, they have the white numerals and trim as well. They go right to left with under a minute left to play here in this first quarter, 15-5. They play on the left side. Shepard. And now back outside. They play high on the right to Allen. They may play for a final shot as we come up on 10 seconds to play here in quarter number 1. Eric Brooks has it. Here's a double screen set up for him up high. 5 to play. He'll step back. He'll pump 3. A high arcing shot. It's no good. Off the front end of the rim. And this first quarter has come to a close. Your score after 1 period, it's 15-5 in favor of Edgewood. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. $15-5 is your score for our game of the week. Edgewood on the road, leading the home team Ross by 10. Along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us for our game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. And while we have a moment, we'll tell you that we'll be on the air tomorrow. It's SWOC week, apparently, here on our platform. We had a great game with Harrison and Edgewood 3 nights ago. Of course, we've got Edgewood and Ross tonight. Tomorrow, it'll be a non-conference matchup involving a SWOC team, but it's the best team in the conference. Mount Healthy on the road. They'll be at Hamilton. They'll be at the Hamilton Athletic Center. Reed Mouse and Trace Fowler will have that one for a 7:30 tip. So we get back to action as Gronis has it against a 2-3 zone up high on the right. Lakes dumps it down low for Stepaniak. He lost the handle. He turns it over. Here's Eric Brooks with the ball. Across, looking to get across the half-court line. Finally does. Behind the back dribble. Now to the top of the key. Plays to Hazy Gambrell. Now dumps it out on the sideline for Scott. Scott kicks it back out for Brooks. Brooks now returns it. Aaron Frazier, top of the key. He goes left. Allen puts it on the deck. He gives it back to the near side. Gambrell deep along the corner. Returns it now to Frazier. Frazier up high with 7:20 left to play in the second. Gambrell fires 3 off the left corner. It's no good. It skips away. Here's the putback. No good. Frazier the putback for 2. So a lot of Windex. Absolutely. This is great. And you can see full court pressure quickly broken. Stepaniak to the lane, kicks it out. Here's Lakes, a corner 3. He missed the shot. And an empty possession this time down for Ross, down by 12. Brooks into the lane.
Wow.
Oh, a pretty runner.
Yeah, that's a big-time shot. Not an easy one by any means, but just finding himself as Ross tries to push it up. And this is what I think, as they don't hit, but I think that's one way to try to break the zone, is to get down, force yourself to get into an early shot opportunity, and it might not all go in, but that's one of the better shots they've gotten in the last few possessions.
Edgewood rallying to the ball incredibly well. Gambrell puts it on the floor, and he was held on his way there by Gronis. So Cole will pick up his second. That should be 5 team fouls against the home team, and nothing's gone quite right for them tonight. They fell behind very quickly before their first timeout, 7-0. They're down by 14. Throw-in will come in right in front of the student section. Gambrell tosses it in. Frazier has it up high on the right. They rotate it back to the near side. Shepard missed the shot. Stepaniak the rebound. And Ross trying to get something going. They find Lakes. Now go to Stepaniak. Nice high-low. And he can't get it in. He puts it back for two. Max Stepaniak averaging 14 and a half and 7 boards a game. That's a great points and rebounds combination, 19-7.
Absolutely. You can tell why right there. Just stayed composed and got his own rebound and put it back in.
And a shot on this send for Caleb Allen. He'll head the other way.
Anytime you try to crawl back into a game, more often than not, many people want to talk about the scoring and you got to find a way to put the ball in the basket. Although that is obviously true, more often than not, your defense is really what gets you back in the game, and it kind of sets up perhaps some offensive possessions. We'll see if Ross can string together some stops.
Lakes and Gronis but at the top of the key against the 2-3. They feed inside. Here's Stepaniak. Mid-post jumper is no good, and the ball corralled by John Shepard. Scott has it for Edgewood. Now plays it back. Caleb Allen looking to his sideline, and we'll look for the offensive play here. Scott. Gambrell now tosses back. Shepard now comes back out from the corner against, again, that 2-3 zone. 4:45 left to play here in this first half. Here's Frazier, his shot low on the left on the short corner, no good. Sam Nunn the rebound. Tosses Gronis, returns it up high to Nunn, and they play a little two-man up top. Edgewood showing a 2-3 zone of their own, and they threw it away.
Get away. Yeah, very fortunate to keep that ball.
Lakes saved it for Gronis. They toss to the near side. Don't have a good shot here, and a great bit of defense on the zone. Here.
They got Stepaniak in the middle there a few times. It's just like you got to utilize the site. There you go. There's a kick. There's a shot.
Lakes for three off the left wing. He knocks it down.
It's a simple process in a zone. You can run zone offense, and there's certain sets that you can run to get a good shot. But more often than not, it's very simple. Much like hitting a baseball, there's really only a few ways of hitting one solid, and it's the same with the zone there. Get the ball to the middle and find an open man.
Looks like a reach in on Sam Nunn on the ball handler. Sam will pick up his first. Next one will be the bonus. With 3:43 left to go in this quick-moving first half, 19-10.
Let's thank God it was quick-moving.
For the reason why you hear us laughing, we had a triple overtime in the JV game tonight.
That we did.
Edgewood keeps it out around the three-point line. Brooks looking inside. Frazier, short corner, guarded by Stepaniak. He fires three left wing. He knocks it down. Everything rolling offensively tonight for Edgewood. They double the ball handler and play up front. Nunn. Here's a three off the left wing. Knock it down. Jimmy Booker with the trifecta.
Booker's starting to feel it, and Ross is starting to kind of get in the rhythm, but the question is can they stop the Cougars, who are not having any problems putting the ball in the basket either?
22-13, back to a single-digit lead for visiting Edgewood. Brooks playing. Caleb Allen returning it. Shepard, a straight on three. Back iron, no good. The rebound to Sam Nunn. High-low for Stepaniak, low on the right, gathers himself and scores, and now we got a timeout.
A little bit of run the other way, and finding ourselves slowly but surely a little bit of a ball game here.
With 2.5 left to go here in this first half, a bit of a 10-3 run here for the home team to get close again.
Absolutely. They've done a good job of doing two things, in my opinion. One, they have gotten the ball in the middle a few times and broken down that zone and find an open three. But then, just as you've seen there, they've kind of pushed tempo a little bit on some stops, and we're able to kind of find some easier baskets or some easier looks before that zone gets set up. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier is you can look down here and see the 3 points go in and see that layup go in. But don't forget, it was really the defensive stop on this end that allowed them to kind of get that momentum and push the ball down the floor.
22-15 is your score, 2.5 to play here in this first half. Again, as we mentioned, a quick moving one here between SWOC opponents Ross and Edgewood tonight. It's been Edgewood from the very get-go. They went out to a 7-0 run to start the ball game. And again, Ross has answered back here in the late minutes on a 10-3 run of their own. Of course, we saw Edgewood 3 nights ago in our broadcast right here. And they won that one. It was a close one against Harrison. That one came down to the final 10 seconds. It was some free throws by Frazier to really seal it away. 22-15 here. Speaking of Frazier, he has the ball. He gives it up. He dumps it off. Low on the right. Here's a short corner jumper in and out for Eric Brooks. Lakes comes away with it in traffic. Nunn plays out. He gets it back. Lakes dumps it out for Gronis. They keep it around the perimeter here with 2 to play. 22-15.
Big possession here for Ross.
Lakes comes off the screen now, has the ball. Plays Gronis on the corner. Back to Lakes. He fires 3, right wing. It's an air ball. Oh, a nice high-low. Eric Brooks finds Caleb Allen for the score.
Such a big momentum play there for Ross. They find a way to put the ball in the basket as they let one go from deep.
And Gronis answers back the other way.
It's a big shot because it almost felt like Ross had all the momentum in the world and they were going to pull this thing pretty tight. They get a turnover down on this end, an easy layup on the other end, and next thing you know, you need a big shot, and they found one.
Gronis averaging 14 a ball game, his first score of the night, 24-18 with 1:10 to play here in this first half.
Good defense.
O'Connell comes away with it. Trying to make it a one-possession ball game, and just 3 minutes ago, you wouldn't believe it. Edgewood extending the 2-3 zone to the three-point line. Vallandigham now kicks it out. Here's Lakes. His shot doesn't get anywhere close to the bucket.
And I would expect Edgewood maybe to take the last shot here. As wild as that seems, 40 seconds. You already have a 6-point lead. It doesn't look like it.
Now they're playing it, and that shot no good for Brooks. But the foul is good.
Just an easy basket. Kind of looked like he got fouled perhaps there, but no call. Kind of was a fortunate thing for Edgewood as he scooped the rebound up and put it right back in.
Lakes skips it to the near side. Gronis now out to the outside. Shot by Booker, no good, and we've come to the end of this first half. So the home team, Ross, a spirited run, but they're still down by 8 as we have entered halftime. 26-18 in favor of Edgewood. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. Let's give you a quick scoring breakdown here in this ball game. First for the Rams, they got 3 points in the first half for Cole Gronis. 3 points from Jimmy Booker. 6, which is a team high from Blake Lakes. 2 points from Johnny O'Connell, and Max Stepaniak has 4 points. For Edgewood, the Cougars got 4 points from Eric Brooks, 3 from Anthony Scott, 4 from Aaron Frazier, 5 points from John Shepard, and a game-high 10 from Caleb Allen, 26-18. So before we get to this, and I think it's worth mentioning as we kind of think about like the first half and how we got here, you have to go back to the JV game, and how we got here was a late start tonight. 3 overtimes that happened in the JV game. They were tied at 41 right at the buzzer, and then they had no score in the first overtime. Missed a free throw with 0.1 seconds left to go in overtime. No score in the second overtime. And then they went on, the home team went on an 8-2 run. They won it 51-43, and that's how we got to where we are tonight. So far, our game, the varsity game, Trace, not as up to the junior varsity so far, but we have high hopes for the second half.
Yeah, we talked jokingly there during the overtime that if it was the varsity game, what kind of story it would be and what kind of game it would be. But since it's junior varsity, for whatever reason, it was kind of like you could hear kind of the air in the building kind of exit every time another overtime ensued. But Ross finally pulled away there in the third overtime and started to remember after each overtime, started to bring me back to Madison Square Garden when I was a little younger. And I think it was 5 or 6 overtimes that Syracuse played
right
in the Big East tournament. And I remember, I think it was Jerry McNamara.
Yes, it was McNamara.
Stood on top of the table after what seemed like 7 overtimes, and they finally won. Syracuse did, and
if I remember, they won the Big East tournament that year.
I think they did. It was quite the story, which I don't think that they were definitely not favored to win. It wasn't like they were the 1 seed. So I digress.
Eric Brooks handles the ball, and away we go. Left to right, Edgewood on the move. 26-18 is your score coming out of halftime. Frazier has the ball, sets the high screen. Brooks handles the ball. He penetrates, he tosses to Frazier, he kicks it out. Shepard back outside. Frazier, a baseline 3 is too long. The rebound, put back for 2 for John Shepard.
Yeah, beautiful basket by Shepard, almost as if he went up with it before he came down. And it looks like Ross is going to turn the basketball over immediately coming out of half. We talk all the time about the idea of the first few minutes coming out of halftime and how important they are. And when you're down, it's even more important, right? And it sounds obvious, but ultimately a 5-point swing here in the next few minutes, one way or the other, can make this feel completely different.
Absolutely. So here's Edgewood on the move, back to a double-digit lead. Caleb Allen across the half-court line, draws the half-court trap. Plays it to Brooks. Brooks in the lane, left-hand scoop, no good. We've got a foul. It's an offensive foul on Brooks.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to get Brooks on the foul. It almost looked like he kind of was backed in by Stepaniak, and it wouldn't seem like it was an over-the-back call. So,
well, clearly the men in stripes saw a little something different than we did up here. And by the way, we are perch side tonight.
No, we are.
We are up in the rafters, if you can believe it.
They call it the crow's nest, and I asked them if there was a way they could kind of get a Ram term. They said they've been thinking of one. They couldn't come up with it.
Stepaniak, and one! That ball hung on the rim for an eternity, but he'll go to the line.
Yeah, it was a good bucket, but really a great pass by Sam Nunn. Drove baseline and found Stepaniak. Gave him the ability to go up and get the and one.
John Shepard picks up the personal. And Max Stepaniak gets the bonus. We had mentioned he's a double-double threat. 14 points a ball game, 7 boards a contest. And full court pressure, and here's a takeaway. And before we could get the shove off to the outside to Gronis, we have a foul in the lane.
Getting ready to mention that almost is a tee of modern basketball anymore right there, right? You got to drive to the lane for the layup, and you kick it out for the wide-open 3. Reed Mouse always brings this up in the office, says that I think he does it just to try to be a little bit of a pest, as he is sometimes. As there's a pass in the lane, he goes up.
Stepaniak, no good, and a foul. You know, it's funny. I'm sorry that you bring up Reed's name because he's our favorite guy that we talk about. But, you know, I do follow him on Twitter, so every time you talk about him being a pest, I want to say, Nicholas Reed Mouse, you get in this house right now.
Yeah. Well, he likes to say that Steph Curry is the most influential basketball player in the history of the sport. It's hard for me to agree with that. But I see where he's going, right? Mm-hmm. He's basically saying that he involved the game to where at one point it was kind of deemed as a bad shot to shoot a bunch of threes. Mm-hmm. Now it's almost from an analytical perspective, maybe the right play. But Ross is finding themselves back in a basketball game here.
They are. Stepaniak gets them both. Four-court pressure. being applied, personal pressure, and broken. Here's the runner in the lane, and a good runner for Brooks.
Good bucket by Brooks, getting himself in the lane, and a really good look. Hard to miss when you get a shot like that.
Absolutely. And it was a high-arcing runner. Those aren't easy to put down, but he got it down to make it a 7-point contest. Gronis has it out on the corner. He pops 18. He left it short. Here's a three off the corner. No good for C.J. Bowes. Another opportunity. Here's a three. Knock it down and one!
Are they going to count the basket is the question. Looks like they are going to count the basket.
Jimmy Booker with the trifecta, and then we had a foul down in the lane.
Looked like they called an offensive foul, which would have been on Ross at the time. But they count the basket. So almost looks like Ross is setting up full court pressure here, and that is the case. But Sam Nunn, if he keeps making basketball plays like that, he's going to become one of my favorite players. And I know he's not a standout. He's not going to maybe have those points tonight, but he's made a good pass to Stepaniak to get the and one. Right there, pulled down a rebound over two Cougars, which led to that three. Those are the things. That's 6 points. And honestly, without him, you got 0 of them. So the box score doesn't always tell the whole story.
It sure doesn't. Booker picks up the personal on this one on a hold. On full court pressure, and this is as good as Ross has looked here coming out.
Every time we say that, it almost seems like Edgewood finds a way to find another big basket, don't you? We'll see if they can't finally get a stop here as the Rams look to try to push the tempo.
Scott has it into the lane, the kick up. Here's the baseline three, no good for Caleb Allen. Here come the Rams, down by 4.
The student section is ready to explode on a basket right here.
Booker into the lane to the rack. Booker has 8. It's a one-possession ball game. So the comeback has started a little late, but it's back.
It seems as if that's just what our games are going to be like.
Brooks
pass.
Returns it up high. Here's a straight-on three for Frazier.
Big-time shot for Frazier, man. I tell you what, Edgewood finds a way to put a big basket in every time they need one as the Rams storm back. The Cougars push ahead.
Oh, beauty of a move for Stepaniak. He cannot finish. Frazier the rebound.
It's kind of like $1 million move and $1 finish.
I think we have your trademark call now.
You like it?
I love it.
Well, I can't proclaim it because I was told that a few times when I was playing. So.
Well, I think it still counts if it was told to you.
Yeah.
I'm going with it.
It was actually a different term, but it's not rated. It's not rated for our audience here.
Here's Allen the other way. Back to a 7-point ball game. Gronis. Stepaniak up high. They want to get him. They flashes to the hoop, and he scores.
Stepaniak, as big as he is, he has a good feel around the rim,
He's got 11 in this ball game, 35-30. They're within arm's reach. Frazier sets a high screen. He lost the ball.
There's Sam.
Here's Nunn to the rack. He scores.
Tell you what, Sam Nunn's having himself a basketball game, and here comes another full court, a little bit of pressure here from the Rams.
See if Edgewood breaks, and they do with Caleb Allen. 3:23 to play in this third. 35-32. Frazier up high on the left. Surveys, plays outside. Scott, and now the kick out. A deep water three.
Oh, my.
And out for Allen.
Highway robbery.
Get the saran wrap off that lid.
That's right.
Gronis behind the arc. Plays Nunn. Returns it to Gronis.
Good job by the Rams getting it inside.
Stepaniak, one-on-one. Now he draws a double in the lane, and he is fouled. Anthony Scott came over to help on the one-on-one. And Stepaniak has made his presence felt here in this third.
Yeah, I mean, as good as an athlete as Edgewood's have, they just don't have anyone with the size of Stepaniak. And he's starting to cause a little bit of problems. As you could see there on the last possession, Frazier was matched up with him. He just didn't have the size to hold him down.
Lakes returns it. Booker.
It's like they went zone.
Stepaniak goes out to the perimeter. Now he'll come inside.
I'd love to get Stepaniak right in the middle up there towards the top of the key.
They find Stepaniak low on the left. He draws the double team. He kicks it out. Here's Booker. A high arcing three. He knocks it down. And we're tied. Booker's third of the night. Our first tie of the ball game.
Outside of the first few seconds, you're right.
Brooks draws the double, kicks it outside Allen. And now John Shepard plays to Hazy Gambrell.
I expect Shepard to put something up here.
Here's a move to the elbow. Here's a shot from 15. It skips off the rim for Shepard. And here comes Ross with an opportunity to take the lead for the first time tonight.
Sam Nunn's open here. He just missed him.
Gronis had lost the handle. Lake saves it out on the corner.
Good kick.
Oh, here's Gronis for a corner three. In and out. Stepaniak for two. And Ross leads for the first time tonight.
When you play a zone, the secondary problem that you have is there's no one to box out. You don't have a man, so you're prone to give up offensive rebounds. Stepaniak finds a crease there with an easy rebound and a putback. First lead of the game.
Wow. 37-35. Ross has come all the way back and owns a 2-point margin. They were down at the half, 26-18, and they were down big in this game, Trace. 19-5 to start this ball game, and they have come back hot.
Yeah, it's really a testament to the kids and you know the resiliency that they showed, because even when they came out of halftime, you know, the first maybe 30 to 40 seconds, the first few possessions, if you will, really went Edgewood's way, and they extended the lead. And you started to think, is this going to kind of get out of hand or not? And credit to Ross, because they've really done it on the defensive end. I mean, I don't have the number right in front of me, but what did Edgewood have at halftime?
As far as
points,
points, they had 26 points.
Yeah, so I mean, they held them to 9 in one quarter. That's the recipe of getting yourself right back into a basketball game, and we'll see if they can't continue that into the fourth quarter. But one thing they were able to do, the Rams, that is get this crowd back into it. And anytime you have an atmosphere like this, that is helpful.
Edgewood will enter in three-quarters court. Gambrell will toss to Eric Brooks, who will handle the point. Something worth mentioning, coming into this ball game, and keep in mind a long season, things happen and whatever. Do you know that both teams came in with the exact same number of shot attempts throughout this entire season? 633. As we come up on 1 minute to play here in this third. Just odd tidbits that you never see coming into a broadcast.
That's the Geoff Kim special right there. Finds a way to come out with some no-name stat like that. You're the man, I tell you what. Well prepared.
Here's Frazier up top. Now Shepard. We'll see if they hold for a final shot here.
Maybe. I don't expect that.
Shot is blocked by Stepaniak. He blocked Shepard out of bounds to the baseline, and Stepaniak has made his presence felt tonight.
Absolutely. He's played well on both ends of the floor. And the question now for Edgewood, where's the scoring going to come from? Is it going to be Shepard? Is it going to be Frazier? The other night, Anthony Scott found himself with 2 big baskets at the end of the game. Well, he hit a big shot.
Here's a long three off the right wing. No good. I don't know if it even drew iron.
Now you got to take the final shot, in my opinion, if you're Ross. I know it seems tempting. Yeah, you can see Coach Lane screaming at the top of his lungs to make sure they get a final shot here. But the last thing you want to do is head into the fourth quarter without a lead.
Stepaniak sets a screen for Gronis. To the rack he goes. No good. Stepaniak initially got it, but it's taken away. He lost it. Stepaniak corrals it, and time will run out here in this third. Wow. After 3 here in Ross Township, it's the Rams leading the Cougars 37-35. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. $37-35 in favor of the home team for our game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. Thanks for joining us. Along with Trey Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Week number 9 has been something interesting. We didn't know if we'd get an interesting game down the stretch after what we saw in the first 16 minutes of this contest. That has changed significantly, and Ross has come back furiously thanks to the points and rebounds for Max Stepaniak.
Absolutely. I think that not only has it been Stepaniak, but I think Sam Nunn's played a magnificent basketball game. He's gotten some rebounds down on the defensive end, gotten some offensive rebounds on the offensive side of the ball to allow for extra possessions, if you will. And this is what we had hoped for, right? We had talked about the JV game going into overtime, and we just wanted a close one, as we do every Friday night, Jeff. And we found ourselves one here in Ross.
So something bears mentioning. At the half, Ross had only scored 18 points in the first 16 minutes. In the last 8, that third quarter, They scored 19.
Absolutely.
19-9 in that third quarter. As we head on out for this decisive fourth quarter, Gronis up top between the circles.
It's amazing what confidence does, you can tell Ross is playing a little more swagger.
Man of the hour, Stepaniak has it. He'll set the high screen for Gronis. Ball's nearly stolen away, and we've got some contact and a whistle-stopping play.
They're going to get Frazier on the hold here, is my guess, and certainly looked that way. It was a good job by Frazier deflecting it, but once you deflect it, you can't hold the guy from getting to it, and that's what they're going to get him for here.
That's his first. That's 6 team fouls on Edgewood. The next one is the bonus for the rest of the ball game.
Which could come into play here. And
what do we say about free throws?
Yep. As you said, that your partner once told you, they don't win every game, they just win the close ones.
Here's a steal. Going the other way is Shepard to the rack. Missed the shot.
There's that guy again.
Stepaniak in the middle of all of that. Some indecision on the possession.
Sam Nunn just saved another basket, and not only did he save the basket, but then he forced what basically is a turnover. So, I'll tell you what, I'd highlight him and put him on my PT Peers, as the old Dick Vitale used to say.
Here's a drive. Here's Booker, a corner 3. He left it short. And Edgewood back in a hurry with Brooks. Top of the key, spun around there. He plays it out Scott. Scott will return it up on high. Brooks has the ball once more. Just over a minute gone by here in this fourth. 37-35. The score remains the same. Shepard plays. Scott to the lane. He goes. He drew the contact.
Who are they going to get it for is the question.
Of course, we have the obvious double team there. That's a third team foul against the home team. And that's number 2 on Jimmy Booker.
Not that anyone's in severe foul trouble, but you never want your big man racking up any kind of fouls. As Stepaniak was in on the play, but didn't get charged for the foul.
Scott got the first. Came in shooting 6 of 9 at the stripe this year. That is 67%.
There you go. Stepaniak is, 0 fouls, though, so it's not like he's in foul trouble.
No good in a 1-point ball game. Here's a putback by Frazier. No good. And Stepaniak the rebound. It's a 1-point affair here in Ross Township. C.J. Bowes, who had been saddled with 3, finally comes back into this ball game. Gronis has it top of the key. And Edgewood playing the ball handler a little bit more tightly here in the late minutes.
That they are. Look at Gronis.
Gronis, a straight on 3. He missed the shot. He got the loose ball, but he fell out of bounds with it. It's turned over the other way.
Yeah, as soon as he let it go, he knew it had no chance of going in as he sprinted in to try to get the offensive rebound. Good effort, but a good job by Edgewood of finally kind of getting a stop on their end, if you will, and see if they can't turn the fortune on the offensive end for them, as it's been a struggle here this half.
Ross averaging about 57.5 points scoring per ball game. Edgewood came in with 54 per contest. We're pretty much on pace to see if one of those teams can get up to their scoring average tonight, but it had been a defensive affair for a little while tonight.
Here comes Ross with a trap, half-court trap.
Brooks into the lane, the kick out. Frazier is wide open. There's a three. He knocks it down. Aaron Frazier gives Edgewood the lead.
It's like we're going to get a timeout for Ross. And, we were fortunate enough to be able to see Edgewood play against Harrison on Tuesday night. And I'm not saying he's our best player, but I think of all the players that I got to see on Edgewood's side on Tuesday night, Frazier was the one that stuck out the most to me. He can't hit the outside shot, but he does a great job of dribble driving, and he uses his dominant hand, his left hand, oftentimes to get in the lane and find easy buckets. But we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and it's a close one. I expect it to stay close at this point. It's kind of back and forth, possession-by-possession game, and you can see Ross is trying to kind of change the tempo sometimes on the defensive end as they've run some kind of half-court traps, full-court pressure, and we'll see if they continue to do that.
Well, you know what I think about this? After this had all of the earmarkings of a blowout in the early minutes, I think, they're trying to give you a close game after what we saw last week at Lakota East, for one.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think they're just trying to make sure that you have a very happy birthday next week.
Yeah. We'll see. Always going to bring that birthday up, I'll tell you. I know that it was once told to me, and I like to reiterate it, is that although that I look forward to my time in heaven if I can make it there, birthdays often mean that it beats the alternative, right?
Yes, that you're not celebrating them.
That's right.
That is an exact paradigm. You are either in a good spot with that, or you're not in a good spot with that.
Yeah, I always hear people complain about their birthday, but if you're not having one, it seems like that's not good.
Here's Bronis from 15. He knocks it through. Oh, that's beautiful.
Here we go, man.
We'll talk a little bit more about birthdays a little later on. That's our second tie of the night, by the way. Here's Frazier. Thought about three. Drives the lane. To the rack he goes. Missed the shot. The rebound. And a putback. No good. We've got a foul.
A little bit of schoolyard ball down there. Just getting really scrappy, and as you would expect in a tight game down to the end here. And in the SWOC. Seen a lot of football in the SWOC.
Yes,
not
we
a
did.
whole lot of basketball yet. This is my second time, and in the same week, but second time all year as well. So,
well, this is SWOC week here on Chatterbox Live. Count them, 3 games from the SWOC this week.
That's right. Mount Healthy's got a big basketball game tomorrow as they go and play the Big Blue. It's finally the first time we got to see, in my opinion, how real the Mount Healthy Owls really are.
Shepard got the first. He makes them both. Shepard with 9 in the ball game, 41-39. The pendulum swings again.
It's like Edgewood's going man-to-man. And if that's the case, you got to find a way to get the ball into Stepaniak with this height advantage. He's got Frazier on him now.
Comes down low on the left. Here's Booker into the lane. Goes. Misses the shot. Stepaniak rebounds. Here's Bronis for 3. He knocks it down. Fourth lead change of the night. It's a turnover. Here's a steal. To the rack. C.J. Bowes with the deuce. This is the biggest lead of the ball game for Ross.
And if you're Scott here, just pull it out. Take your time, or not.
Here's Booker on a 2-on-1. He drops out for Bowes. Over for Stepaniak. He jams it through on a beauty of a touch pass. Mercy. And a timeout.
Look at Coach Lane's fired up.
Max Stepaniak. Mercy, mercy me. And happy birthday to you. Wow. Well,
Now, if you're Edgewood, you got to realize there's 4 minutes of basketball left to be played, and it's a 5-point game. It is not going well for you all half, but there's no better time than to turn around right now, and you got plenty of time. It's not like you're in a situation where you got to force the issue and you got to do anything different. But if you're the Ross Rams and you're the student section and everybody that came out to watch this game, my goodness, can you not be more pleased? As poorly as you played in the first quarter and even parts of the second quarter, you played just as well in the second half, and you find yourself with a 5-point lead with just 4 minutes left. And you got to question where the scoring is going to come from Edgewood. And it's kind of, there really hasn't been any offensive fluidity the entire half. And they've scored sometimes. I'm not saying they haven't scored the basketball, but hasn't been a lot of easy baskets, that's for sure.
Speaking of easy baskets, and I don't know if the last one counts as an easy basket. It was up close, obviously. But even those bunnies, as we saw last week at East, right? Both East and West were missing bunnies right in that lane. Stepaniak showed up huge. That thing's going to be on social media all over the place this coming week.
I'm sure it will be. It's one of those, as you called it, the touch pass was beautiful. And really the heady play of expecting to get it and the dunk. We'll see if Edgewood can answer.
CJ Pose picks up half court, but eluding him is Brooks. Here's a corner three for Frazier. He knocks it down.
Here we go.
His third trifecta of the night. Pose plays Stepaniak up high on the right. Skip pass. And Booker now has the top of the key. Off the screen. Kicks it out. Bose thought about three. Here's Gronis for three. In and out. Caleb Allen has a chance to tie up the ball game or take the lead with a three. Eric Brooks has it now between the rings. 3:18 to play to the conclusion, or at least in regulation here in this one. After what we saw in the junior varsity game, I wouldn't put it beyond them at this point to play for extras.
I think you got to get the ball on a screen here and let Stepaniak have to guard one of the guards. That's where your advantage lies. If they're going to switch every screen, you got to put Stepaniak on a guard and let him go one-on-one.
Shepard up high. Checked by Sam Nunn. Scott gets a touch. Has yet to put it on the floor. Returns it up high. Caleb Allen. Checked by Bose. Into the lane. He goes to the rack and one.
I hate it. They're going to call an offensive foul, and I hate it. I'll tell you why. And it probably is the right call, but you just can't stand on the baseline and take a charge, in my opinion. There's a reason they put the arc in college. There's a reason they put an arc in the NBA, and it's because of that right there. And I'm taking nothing away from Ross, but you just can't take a charge after a guy leaves the floor and you stand underneath the basket.
So wave off the bucket. Caleb Allen picks up his second, and we've got the bonus the rest of the way. So whether you or not you call that good defense on the home team, or
I would say it's good defense. I take nothing away from the call. It might be the right call. I got a problem with the rule, and I'm not saying that whether you suggest they got to come out and paint arcs on every single high school floor or not, I don't know. Maybe you just say the rule is you can't stand within 3 feet of the basket, and it's a discretionary call. It's just got to go. You can't stand underneath the basket. I mean, he was underneath the basket, almost on the baseline.
Stepaniak, top of the key. One possession ball game. Bose looking inside. Returns it outside. Gronis wanted a trigger from long range. Instead, will give to Booker. Now for Nunn, looking in. Plays outside. Stepaniak will put it on the floor.
Just as I think.
He'll flash to the paint. He gets the ball, and it's batted away.
Oh, it's a travel.
And now we've got traveling.
Oh,
no, we have a foul?
They're going to talk this over, and I think they're going to get it right. Let's see if they get it right.
We see some politicking in the background from David Lane, the head coach.
Well, what was that?
I don't know.
We got a point.
We had
they're going to call it.
calls.
They're going to call it a foul, and honestly,
that's a tough one.
I'll tell you what. The ball don't lie, baby. Got a charge down on this end that I didn't like, and then we got to travel perhaps on this end that they get for them. So, hey, there you go.
First on the big man, Stepaniak. 5 team fouls against the home team. 2 minutes to play here in regulation. 46-44.
There's the Rams again that they got beat on this one.
Brooks outside. 3. No good for Shepard. Put back. No good. We got a foul.
What a big rebound by Brooks inside. Got to go to the line to try to tie it up, and these are the moments that get magnitude. Every possession from 151 on will be remembered more so than those possessions earlier in this game.
That's number 3 on Sam Nunn. Brooks goes back iron and misses. He's got 6 points on the night. Came in as just under a 58% shooter at the stripe this year. Free throws haven't been the big thing. It's not been bad. It's not been good for either team this season. Edgewood shooting just about 70%. And Ross shooting just a hair under 72. No good.
And as I mentioned down here, I think that the advantage Edgewood has on the offensive end is that Stepaniak is going to have to play on a guard. Well, guess what? The advantage Ross has is that there's a guard on Stepaniak.
Gronis to the rack.
And when I say that, Gronis takes it to the hole and scores.
You called it. 2-possession ball game. Under 90 seconds to play. Shepard plays. Allen. Top of the key. Lost the handle. Will get it back.
No need to rush here if you're Edgewood. You got plenty of time.
Brooks off the high screen. Plays. Over for Allen. Allen. Checked by O'Connell.
Yeah,
he lost the handle.
Yeah. I mean, they have an advantage. No offense to Jimmy O'Connell, but he's just not going to be able to stay in front of a guard. And at some point, when you're hindering a guy from driving to the basket by putting both of your hands on him, you got to call it, and that's what they did. And got to start making some of these free throws as they're in the bonus here. Big 1-and-1.
Team fouls are even at 7. Got it. Well, free throws, especially in those 1-and-bonus situations down a stretch, they're so huge. We saw that back in the first game, the JV game tonight, in overtime, the first overtime, with just about a second left to go in that one. No good on the second.
Got a rebound.
The rebound, and it'll stay up front. Oh, here's a 3! In and out for Allen.
Wow. You don't have to foul quite yet. See if you can't force a turnover and then foul. Oh, they got him trapped. Ooh.
Gronis into the lane. The kick out. Here's 3. No good.
They got
and
numbers.
Here's the run out. A 3-on-2. Frazier to the rack. And a timeout.
Wow. Coach Thomas going to take a quick timeout here and probably set up his defensive strategy. And the dagger 3 in the corner for the Rams almost went down, but credit to Edgewood of getting the defensive rebound and pushing the envelope and getting a nice bucket for Frazier on the other end. But I expect Edgewood to come out here and play a little bit of full court pressure, see if they can't turn the ball over. And one of the great advantages in a situation like this is that if you foul them, it's what you wanted to do anyways, right? So you can be ultra aggressive and push the envelope and see if maybe you can get a turnover on what they would traditionally call a foul, because I don't care what anybody says. The referees traditionally kind of start to pull back the whistles a little bit towards the end of the game. What might have been a hand check in the first quarter is no longer a hand check. Now there might be some refs listening to the game.
Right.
And they might say, no, we call it the same all the way out. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's been plenty of games that I've played in that I've watched where there'll be a half-court trap, and then if a guy's basically getting mugged, and they just won't call a foul because the last thing you want to do is blow a whistle in this situation. You want to let the kids play. That being said, I expect Edgewood to come out here and see if they can't force a turnover on a full-court trap. If you're Ross, be strong with the ball. Look to the middle, and if he's not open, find your backside outlet. But what a game. I mean, there in the first quarter, second quarter, I was starting to question whether or not we were going to get this, and by golly, we found it.
Well, for what it's worth, as we come back to action, I'm on vacation next week, so you and I, we need this.
Is that what you're calling it?
I'm calling it a vacation.
Like Christmas vacation is what it sounds like. A little bit. What do you think?
If I could share this story on the air, which I can't.
Well, I mean, you got to drive. I'm not a huge fan of long road trips, but I digress. We got a big game here.
Gronis playing for none. And we got another stoppage in play with 30.6 seconds left to go here in this contest. So I harken back to now, I guess it's now 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
It was Lakota West and Oak Hills And that was the game that we had a steal on the end, at the end of that game. And then the pass up front to Cam Brandt, who laid it in right at the buzzer. It's not, you are close enough right now where you don't have to think about jump shots. You're thinking about drives to the hoop in these scenarios.
That's the other situation, right? Is that you're going to try to hold until you get fouled. That's the common concept here. I don't expect Ross to take a shot, but if there's a turnover, the opportunity, as what we've seen in the Oak Hills game, often can lead into runouts and a point the other way. So it's not just that you're trying to keep the ball away from them to not allow them to score, but it's also the idea that typically you're in a vulnerable position if you do turn it over to give up a basket the other way. But we'll see what Edgewood decides to do. I expect them again to do a little bit of a half-court trap.
Well, Edgewood brings 3 into the backcourt. Now almost a full complement as Gronis gets it out on the sideline.
We got the 10-second call.
He's looking around.
I tell you what, I think that was a planned play.
He really took his time out there.
I think Coach Lane told him in the huddle, we have plenty of timeouts. There's only 30 seconds in this basketball game, right? We got another timeout after this one. Catch the ball in the backcourt, hold on to it. We'll let that clock run out, maybe 8 seconds, and we'll call another one, and we'll do it again. I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if they did something to the similar situation. I don't expect them to call another timeout, because then you put yourself in a real precarious position with no timeouts left. You don't want to get into the Chris Webbers of the world.
That's a little before your time, or just barely. Were you on the planet?
I don't know. Was I? What?
93.
Yeah. I mean, I was around, but I certainly wasn't watching TV. Probably watching some cartoons or something. But we'll see what they decide to do. But ultimately, at this point, you mentioned it before, and we'll say it again. Free throws don't always win every game, but they win the close ones, and there's a good chance that free throws will play a part of this.
Well, we and harkening back to 2 weeks ago, we were at Alter for the Baden game up in Kettering, and that game, because of the way that turned out, because free throws did make an impact, and you had to get a tying 3 from Baden down the stretch, that became a jump shot game. Since we have a 1-point game.
Tough spot to inbound the ball.
Do we have another timeout?
Oh, they're going to call a foul. An off-the-ball foul on Edgewood. That's tough.
Oof.
Here comes some big free throws.
John Shepard picks up number 2. So Cole Gronis is the man of the hour. And you saw a similar situation 3 nights ago. It was a close game within 10 seconds of end of regulation. We saw free throws really impacted down the stretch.
You talk about the front end of 1-on-1s. There's nothing bigger than this one right here.
Gronis is an 86% shooter. Ooh. He gets it to rattle home. Mercy.
They found every part of the iron on that rim, and they called that the friendly home court roll.
Got them both.
Don't need a 3 if you're Edgewood. You don't need a 3. You push the ball down there and get an easy basket if they're going to allow you to get one.
And a timeout.
All right. That will be their final timeout. So I would expect, if that's your final timeout, that they're going to draw up a play to try to get the equalizer.
Well, so I go back to 2 weeks ago, the Alter Baden game. We were up in Kettering, and because the way that game played out, we saw Baden have to go for 3 down the stretch because they were behind by 3, and they put up 3 shots down the stretch, and they were just off, right? And then it was a final rebound by Brady Ewell to clinch it for Alter. Do you see a frenetic situation like that, or do you see they play the clock and they try to tie it up right at the buzzer?
I think you're going to go with your first best look, and you have multiple options. The good news for the Cougars is they have 3 or 4 guys, in my opinion, that can shoot the 3 and have a highly likelihood of making it. It's probably not fair because it's a 3-point shot, but they have a good chance of making it based off of their abilities. I always fall back to 2 guys when you watch Edgewood. They're going to be there with John Shepard or Aaron Frazier, one of those two guys, in my opinion, is probably going to shoot this basketball. But let's not forget, on Tuesday, a guy by the name of Anthony Scott found two really big baskets at the end of the game. So there's always the chance of the no-name hero. And as I mentioned, all those guys, wouldn't surprise me a bit if Caleb Allen found a way to put it in the basket either. So, I could keep going. I'll just name all five of them, and I'd probably be right. But here we go. We'll see. I expect him to obviously go for the equalizer of the three-point basket.
The inbound from half court with 18.4 left to go here in regulation. Caleb Allen will trigger.
Be careful about Ross fouling if it gets down to the end, too.
Brooks has it. Here we go.
They're trying to foul. They're trying to foul, Ross is. They're
Shepherd
fouling.
and they are fouling as Bose picks up the personal with 9.9 seconds left to go. Well, that's an interesting strategy here.
I love that strategy if it's anyone other than John Shepherd. I really do. Because you're going to the line for a 1-and-1, a high-pressure 1-and-1. I tell you this all the time off air. Not all free throws are the same. They're just not. And you send a guy to the line with Shepherd who, he's just a gamer. And I know he shoots 72%, but I expect him to put these in. I really do.
Team fouls are even at 8. Clutch.
Hey, it's just you got guys. You got guys on the team that obviously that want the basketball. Shepherd wants the basketball. I'm trying to foul a guy that traditionally is not used to going to the line in a situation like this. But hey, that probably wasn't Coach Lane's strategy, I'll be honest, because he looked a little frustrated after the foul. But got to put this one in and see if you can get a quick steal. There it is. Trying to find a way to get a quick steal. You got no timeouts. And honestly, if you're Ross, you kind of don't want to substitute right there just based off the fact that it gives them a chance to set up.
Sam Nunn will trigger. 9.9 seconds left to go in a 50-49 game. They're holding on by the skin of their teeth. And a timeout.
Yeah, they're going to set up a play, but my only fear with calling a timeout in that situation, now you got 0 left. So the 5-second call, you can't get bailed out with the timeout. So, wow. Back and forth, back and forth. There's a play that I like right here that is not very conventional. Something of the Philly special in a way, right? You got the Philly special in the Super Bowl, something that nobody expected them to run on that situation.
Sure.
I like when you run the pass out of bounds, right? You're going to basically feed the ball out of bounds to where you're not actually inbounding it, right? You're throwing the ball beyond the baseline, and then you pitch it directly back to the guy that inbounded it. Typically, you're going to put your best free throw shooter inbounding the ball first, and then you're going to put your second best passer, the guy that takes it. We'll see if Ross doesn't do a little trickery in that situation. The other thing in this situation that always gets forgotten in more times than not is the deep pass, right? Because oftentimes the Cougars or Edgewood's going to just do whatever they can to try to guard their man, and more often than not, the deep ball, the home run ball, is the play. We'll see what they decide to do. They got 4 across there on the foul line extended.
Gronis will trigger from his own back line. Checked by Frazier right out there. And everybody's guarding a man.
There it is. Right back to him.
Nunn back
Beautiful.
over for Gronis. Oh, that's a beauty. With 7.8 seconds left to go here in regulation. That's 19 fouls against visiting Edgewood. You called it. You absolutely called it.
Yeah, I love that play. I mean, more often, because it's just not something that a defense typically has in their mind of what they want to do. And I'll tell you, that's a great play because they get it to a guy, again, a gamer in my vernacular terms of high school basketball players. This kid's a gamer, and I expect him, just like Shepherd did, to make his free throws.
Waits comes out. C.J. Bose back in. Gronis at the line, who had a couple of big free throws the last time he was at the line. He gets the first. And that's a big free throw.
It is. It's a live ball on a miss, though. You can't forget that. So, again, a chance with the run out, and you got 2 guys underneath the basket for Edgewood that can, Shepherd and Frazier.
This one will come down to a final possession, we believe, as Gronos makes them both.
Watch the foul for Ross, and if I'm Edgewood, I keep an eye on that, and I might throw it up myself.
Here we go. Caleb Allen plays up front. Here's a three. He got it down. Wow! Eric Brooks ties it up at 52. We're going to overtime. Mercy. From 28 feet away, we are tied up at 52.
Almost a steal, which led to an open three, but to be honest, the way that he shot it, it almost seemed as if he thought time was almost out. So he threw up kind of a quick three, all bottoms.
Unbelievable. So we have extra minutes tonight, and it just figures. After what we saw in the junior varsity game, it just figures that we would go to extra minutes tonight.
Do you see those memes? And if there isn't a meme, we might make one in Chatterbox Sports, and it's basically the meme of the JV picture and then the varsity picture saying, "Hold my beer."
I mean, that is an unbelievable shot from 28 feet out for Eric Brooks.
Beautiful shot.
I'm a little speechless right now.
This is awesome. This is what I signed up for, baby. This is what I signed up for. I tell you what, had a little technical difficulty to start the night off. It was like a 14-point game. Just wasn't where you wanted to be on a Friday night. Next thing you know, about an hour later, nowhere else I'd rather be.
That is a really great perspective.
Both teams get one timeout added for overtime. So although they didn't have any during regulation, they will have one apiece in overtime.
And we do have a 4-minute extra period here. It'll be Aaron Frazier to jump center with Max Stepaniak. Ball's in the air, tapped and controlled.
Double tap, yep. Can't do that.
And we'll have to do it again.
Hopefully it's not like the JV game to where it's like a one-shot overtime.
Well, let's not repeat that. You and I were beside ourselves on that one. Tap is controlled by nobody.
They're going to go
trying to see who it is.
I think they're just going to re-jump it. Oh, they're going to make a call.
It'll belong to Ross, and away we go here in extra minutes.
Yep. So possession arrow, which could come into play, will be Edgewood.
Ross will go right to left. 52 all. Our first overtime matchup of this 2019-20 season. Here's a three. Knock it down. Jimmy Booker.
Bucket, baby.
His fourth of the night.
Well, you can forget that whole one possession overtime thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had 4 lead changes in this ball game and a couple of ties. This has been a classic. Shepard driving to the rack. No good. A foul. A blocking call underneath.
I like that call. I didn't think he had firm position quite yet. And that was a pivotal call. Big call right there, and it goes Edgewood's way, and we'll see if Shepard can't go to the line and hit 2 more big free throws as he did in regulation. Those are often the plays that you forget at the end, right? You remember the 3, but oftentimes you forget the 2 free throws he hit that gave him a chance to cut it to 1.
C.J. Bowes exits the ball game, saddled with his 5th personal. He finishes the ball game with a couple of points as Blake Lakes takes his place in the lineup. John Shepard is money in the bank right now. You and I couldn't have asked for anything more, especially given the way tonight had started all together, right?
Absolutely.
The JV game that goes 3 overtimes, what looked like a blowout by Edgewood by 14 points early in the second, and we had a tie game here at regulation. Both of them by Shepard good, 55-54.
Edgewood back in their man-to-man zone. Or, excuse me, man-to-man instead of the zone.
Gronis looking for the high screen, gets one from Stepaniak. Dumps it off. Booker, who's been the star of this one here in the late minutes. Outside to 9, driving baseline,
Good
lost
poke
the handle.
away. Good poke away right there. Eric Brooks with the poke away.
Scott came away with it on the back end, and now Eric Brooks, who is the hero of this ball game so far, he sent us into overtime. Here's a long
my
three.
goodness!
Shepard from 25.
There's some guys that want the ball at the end of the game, and Shepard's one of them.
Fifth lead change of this ball game. Gronis to the rack, he is fouled by Frazier.
Looked like a good block, but from our angle, we're so far away from the play, could have very well got him with the body, and going to go to the line for 2. Again, crucial free throws.
How about the big-time home run hitting by Edgewood here in the late minutes?
Absolutely.
The tie by Brooks from 28 feet away, and the 25-footer just now by Shepard.
25, it might have been a little far than 25. That thing was, he let that thing rip from deep. That's Gronis go to the line.
Gronis will try to tie it up. He gets the first. All 5 of his free throws have come here in the second half. All but 3 of his points have come here in the second half. He's got 17 so far. Do we have our third tie of the night? Oh, yes.
Got some friendly rolls on those, what would be the south side rim.
We got a beauty here tonight in Ross Township. Tied at 57.
Again, Frazier's the one that has the advantage here. I know Shepard's just saying, this is my basketball game.
He'll go to the rack, miss the shot, he'll draw the foul.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, both teams are going to be the double bonus, so anytime you hear a whistle, it's going to result in 2 free throws.
Cole Gronis picks up his third. So Shepard to the stripe is looking to untie this ball game and regain the lead for Edgewood.
Wow.
These friendly irons are something tonight.
They are. They're like Fisher Price rims out there.
That is quite a physical visual. Got them both.
Some hoops you get when you're like 2 years old, and as long as you hit the backboard, the ball goes in. There's a lot of people out there know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Some
I know
have
exactly.
no idea what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Those are some of the softest rims you'll ever encounter. Gronis with his team down by 2. Shut off on the drive by Frazier.
Frazier doing a good job of on-ball defending.
Lakes now to Stepaniak.
Good pass.
Oh, here's 3 from Lakes. He missed off the front iron. Frazier the rebound. I beg your pardon, Scott.
Good rebound by Scott. They got numbers down for Edgewood.
Frazier low on the right, gathers and scores.
Got to get back if you're Ross. Even though you missed the 3, you got to get back on defense. We'll see if they can't answer here.
A 2-possession contest, 61-57. Drive by none. The kick out to Gronis.
Take your time if you're Ross. Plenty of time in this basketball game. Get your sons.
Off the screen, he fires 3. He airmails it, and it's loose, and it'll head the other way.
Yeah, a little over anxious there, in my opinion, by Gronis. You know, if it would have gone in, we'd have screamed and yelled and talked about how great it was. I get it. Shepard kind of took a shot down here of the exact same magnitude. But again, you got to remember the tide's starting to fall towards Edgewood here. You got time. It's a minute 13. Get you a good shot. Again, going to the free throw line. See if Scott can't extend the lead here.
.113 to play here in this extra period. 61-57.
Yeah, it's just miscommunication here from, I think, the officials. I'm baffled as to what's going on. There's a conversation about a sub is what's going on, and they wanted to sub in. They didn't buzz it, and here's where they're at in this whole situation. Typically when you run to the score table, they have the buzzer there for a reason. You buzz in. Referees didn't stop play because there wasn't a buzz. And the argument from Edgewood's head coach, John Thomas, is that, hey, listen, he was there in time. We needed to get him in the game. And fortunately for the refs, they stopped play and they do allow the substitution. And here we go.
So the pendulum is swung the other way. No good.
Here we go. Door has been opened.
Gronis, we'll see if he gets a quick shot off. Behind a Stepaniak screen. Gives it up. He gets it back. He curls out to the far elbow. Here's a three for Booker. He airmails it. The rebound to Lakes. He puts up and one! And one!
Are you kidding me? Blake Lakes, with not only the rebound and the strong-willed nature of really being tough with two Cougars on him, goes up with the physical nature, not only draws the foul, but puts the ball in the basket. And just as you thought Edgewood had control, here come the Rams.
Lakes with 8 points off the bench. No good. It's a 2-point possession. And the ball will go the other way. Ross had a shot to save it up in the front court, but they're down by 2 with 50.3 left to go.
Again, if you're Ross, play tight defense here. See if you can't force Edgewood to take a timeout.
Man pressure. And a timeout.
There it is.
Well, these possessions are now crucial. We've now gotten to a point where you can't give anything up, because we just saw in that last sequence where Lakes was amongst the trees and still somehow got that one to go.
You know, there was an old saying or an old, call it, one of those kind of tales, if you will, that I heard when I played, which was the offensive team gets the rebound, which would be an offensive rebound, 80% of the time on an air ball. And that's exactly what happened there. As a defender, you're expecting the ball to hit the rim. You're looking for the ball to hit the rim. And oftentimes as the offensive player, you're more looking at the ball versus getting boxed out.
Right.
The defensive player oftentimes is trying to get in position, and his focus is more on the man versus the ball. So that's where I think that comes in and makes sense. He obviously seen that it was kind of getting airmailed. He's fortunate enough to get the rebound. Now, we talked about earlier, how do you get the ball in and how do you get the ball to your best free throw shooter? I actually think, since kind of the cat's out of the bag, if you will, on that play, I'm not saying you can't run it again, but there's another play that I like, which is typically your big man sets a screen for a guard, and the guard is really going to run a post route, and you're going to take your chances and throw that post route for an easy lay-in. And more often than not, it works because you're telling your defenders you're switching every screen. Anytime you put a guy like Stepaniak, if you will, on Frazier, you got a good chance. But it looks like they're playing kind of more of a zone here.
They toss it in. Get it up into the front court. Shepard looking for Frazier. It'll stay up front. Off the hands of none. He's trying to argue that it was off Frazier's hands, but it'll stay up front with 44 to play.
Very surprised by Ross going into more of a zone press there versus a man-to-man press and trying to force not only another turnover with the 5-second call. Now you just got to be strong with the ball if you're Edgewood, and this is one of the situations where you can turn it over if you're not careful. You got to flash to the basketball as there's a foul.
Lakes picks up the personal. He fouled Caleb Allen. Might not be the guy to foul at this point, but time is money.
That it is, and as I was mentioning there in the trap, it almost seemed like Ross was kind of forcing the issue, and you can't fall asleep on the backside if you're on the offensive side with the trap. We'll see if he can't put some big free throws in as he gets the first one.
76% shooter at the stripe this year.
Tell you what, for as much as we talked about big free throws, don't want to jinx him here, but there hasn't been one missed.
3-point ball game, and it stays a 3-point ball game. Here we go with coming up on 30 to play.
You don't need a three, but he takes one.
Gronis for three. He misses it off the front iron. Saved by Gronis. Off the corner. He fires no good. The back tap to
Take
Gronis.
a timeout. I would take a timeout.
And a timeout.
Absolutely.
They did listen to you. with 17.9 to play.
Little helter-skelter. You forget how much time's left on the clock, and it almost seemed as if in that situation, Ross was going to throw up another three that probably was more of like a last-second shot than a quality shot. So, again, Edgewood having difficulties getting the big defensive rebound to stamp this game.
Since we haven't mentioned this for a while, along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us for the real game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. This has been something special. I'm just wondering how Mount Healthy and Hamilton will compare tomorrow. You'll have that game. There's no rest for the weary.
No. And I'll tell you this, I don't know if my wife is watching these games or not. We'll see. I think she tunes in. But God bless her, man. I'll tell you what, it seems like I'm gone every Friday and gone all nights throughout the week trying to make sure that we, do a decent job up here in the broadcast booth and streaming these games. We've gotten a lot of good feedback of people appreciating what we do, and sometimes it's kind of funny. People thank us, and really there's nothing to be more so than thankful for being able to come to games like this and enjoy this atmosphere, and I'm just appreciative of being able to do it.
We've been blessed, especially in this last month, with the games that we've enjoyed.
Absolutely, and the graciousness of the athletic directors, Jake Richards tonight. And back to action, though. Got to expect them to shoot a three.
Nunn has it with 15 to play. They're looking. Gronis with under 10 to play.
He's going to go one-on-one here. Set a screen for him if you can.
And a foul with 4.8 to go.
Not a bad foul. Not a bad foul. Foul in which they didn't want to do. I'm not saying they purposely fouled him, but 4.8 seconds left. I don't mind it. I really don't.
Frazier picks up his fourth. Gronis to the stripe. No good.
That's why. Percentages are often at some point going to play themselves out, right? And it seemed as if Ross hasn't missed a free throw in the last hour of this game. You got to make it. I think you got to make it. They're going to talk about, I think, trying to miss it on purpose, but I just think your percentages are much higher making it and trying to get a turnover. He missed it on purpose.
Good. The rebound to Edgewood, and we've got a foul. Yeah. With 2.8 left to go, a free throw make here will seal it.
You're in a bad spot no matter what, right? In a situation like that, whether you miss it on purpose or whether you make it. I'm just, I know you're an analytical guy. I know you like statistics. I think the higher percentage play is to make it and then call a timeout of yourself and try to force a 5-second call versus miss it, get the rebound, kick it out, and shoot the three. And they're still alive. This is where if you got a timeout, I'd almost take one right here and ice them, if you will. And it looks like there's no timeouts left, so it shows how much I know.
Well, we've seen so many tonight that you almost think they were freely giving them away.
No. I got a good scoreboard here that shows you that, though. You'd think I'd figure that out. But nonetheless, kind of icing their own man here with all the substitutions.
Anthony Scott is the man of the hour. He has the biggest free throw of the night.
Oh,
and he's got it.
Game's over. You just can't foul. Get away.
Gronis will throw up from three-quarters court. No good. And this one has finally come to an end. In overtime, Edgewood escapes. A game they should have lost in regulation. They come back to win in overtime, 63-59. What a finish.
Absolutely. We talked about Edgewood in their last game. They didn't play well, and they found a way to win. I would say they played pretty well in large parts of this game. The second half was a little bit of a struggle for them, but anytime you're trying to win a league championship, and that is what Edgewood's trying to do, you've got to come away with victories just like you did tonight. They control their own destiny. We talk about Mount Healthy. They're obviously undefeated, and they're a good ball club, but they control their own destiny with the ability to at least share the SWOC championship, especially after tonight.
Edgewood improves to 11-4, 8-1 in the SWOC. They've won 3 in a row. Beg your pardon, 4 in a row. Ross drops its 3rd in a row. They drop to 9-5, 4-5 in the SWOC. We're due for a break. We need one for sure. As we'll come back and wrap this one up from the perch. It's is the Game of the Week here on Chatterbox Live. In overtime tonight, a big win for the Edgewood Cougars. They came back from the dead. They literally came back from the dead in the final seconds of regulation, and they win it going away in overtime by 4 points, 63-59, along with Trace Fowler. I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us here for the Game of the Week here on Chatterbox Live. That makes 3 out of the last 4 that we've seen, partner, that have come down to, I don't want to say a final possession, but darn near in this case.
Oh, that definitely came down to the final possession, and it's a situation where we've been fortunate. I mean, how many times we're going to get to come to a basketball game and have the thrilling finishes that we've had? And Shepard came to play at the end of that basketball game. I mean, he made some big-time free throws, and that 3 that he hit damn near in the bleachers was one that really gave them incredible momentum. And down the stretch, Edgewood just found ways to make plays and give the Ross Rams a hell of a lot of credit, man, because they were buried as well. You don't talk about coming back from the dead. The beginning of this game was just not a good situation whatsoever. No, and they found a way to come back.
Well, partner, and this is part and parcel with what we've been dealing with the last month or so, where one team comes out to a big lead, and it's up to the other team to take and make a response. So, in keeping with that, I just wanted to share with you this. As far as like a scoring breakdown, from a summary from like a game of runs, it was Edgewood at the very beginning. They went off to a 7-0 run before that first time out. They led 15-5 after one period, and they kind of kept themselves at arm's length even into halftime. They were up 28-16. I beg your pardon, 26-18. And then back came Ross after intermission. I'd love to know what David Lane said in the locker room at halftime. It probably would have some choice words there, but they came out ablazing.
Yeah, and they played really well in that third period to get them back in the game, and really the entire fourth quarter they kind of were in the game, right? They didn't have to storm back in the fourth, and it was a situation where, they held this, let's call it what it is. The Cougars team, which has some threats on the offensive end, they held them to 9 points and turned around and got 19 themselves, and anytime you do that, you're going to find yourself back in a basketball game.
It was a 2-point ball game after 3. It was tied at the end of regulation thanks to a massive 3 from Eric Brooks. Yeah. I think you and I are going to be dreaming about that one for the weeks to come.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks, like I said, really, he took a shot in which almost looked like it was at the very last second at the buzzer, and it almost seemed like that was his approach with it. And more often than not, that kind of frees your mind, right? You don't have any time to think about how big of a shot it is. You don't have any time to think about how wide open you were. Kind of a gamble on trying to steal the pass. Got a hold of it, let it rip, and wow. I mean, did not expect any of this.
In overtime, we saw the lead taken back initially by the home team, the Ross Rams, and then back came the other way on a 6 lead change. The big 3 from Shepard off the right side, and that really set the tone for the rest of the 4 minutes. And then we saw a big-time free throw at the end, 1 of 2 by Scott to close out the ball game by 4, and that's where we got our 63-59 final. Some scoring, as far as unofficial scoring here in this ball game. First for the Ross Rams, Cole Gronis had a big-time second half, and kind of trying to do some quick numbers here. He had, I believe, 15 of his 18 in the second half. 2 points for C.J. Bowes, 2 for Sam Nunn, 14 for Jimmy Booker, who had a big 3 to start off that overtime. Yeah, 8 points for Blake Lakes off the bench. He was a big-time spark here in this one to keep the Rams alive. 2 points for Johnny O'Connell, and 15 to wrap up the scoring from Max Stepaniak, who was huge, especially in that third period. For Edgewood, they got 9 points from Eric Brooks, 5 points from Anthony Scott, 17 from Aaron Frazier. We're trying to do quick math. See, this is the thing with manual scoring that, we're kind of...
I'll tell you what, damn impressive.
Unofficially 18 for Shepard. Caleb Allen wrapped up the scoring for the visiting Edgewood Cougars with 14 points of his own. Again, the final in this one, 63-59. It you know what? Again, I think you would consider it a blessing. And you think back to just even a month ago, we had the Lakota West to start off the year against Oak Hills. And Cam Brandt is going to have to really, he kind of solidified his legacy with us, I believe. I mean, that thing is a shot heard around the GMC in that one.
Sure.
And then, of course, a week later we had the final shot that was up at Alter. The Baden couldn't get 3 opportunities at the back bucket with 30 seconds left. Alter hangs on that one. We saw the blowout last week at East, and then we come back, and this one goes to overtime on a buzzer-beating 3 at the end of regulation. Mercy. We are.
Yeah, I even got to see the Fairfield Hamilton game, which came down to the end. So I tell you, I've been fortunate, and hopefully they continue. And I hope I get another one just like this tomorrow night.
By the way, we did allude to this, so I do need to make mention of this. Happy birthday to you,
Which came down to the end. So I tell you, I've been fortunate, and hopefully they continue. And I hope I get another one just like this tomorrow night.
By the way, we did allude to this, so I do need to make mention of this. Happy birthday to you, my friend. Sure. Number 31 coming up.
That's right.
I'm trying to think what I was doing in 1989, and I unfortunately remember all too well what I was doing in 1989. So how are you going to spend it?
I'll probably be, who knows what I'll be doing. I'll probably be doing something with the kids. My wife usually is much better than I am with birthdays, so she'll probably do something special for me, and I'll probably blow it again next time for her birthday, because that's just how it goes with me. But I don't know. Maybe Jeff Ruby, something like that.
There you go. Final thoughts on this one.
Oh, it was a hell of a basketball game.
Captain Obvious right there.
Yeah. Final thoughts of the basketball game, and look forward to calling another one tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes.
I can't wait. Again, the final in this one, Edgewood in overtime, defeating Ross 63-59. Tomorrow, it's Mount Healthy at Hamilton. Reed Mouse and Trace Fowler will have it at the 7:30 tip right here on Chatterbox Live. Thanks to our crew, Ron Fowler, George Harmon, Jacob Harmon, Alex Gray, Jordan Jones, Brandon Hayter as well. For Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. We thank you so much for joining us for the Game of the Week here on Chatterbox Live. Good night.